So in my last video about Dragonhawk, I reviewed the Mast Fold 2 Pro. And I asked you guys where you want to see me compare this machine to. So I got a lot of questions and a lot of requests that they want to see me compare this to the Fold 3. So we're actually going to do that. So stay tuned and we're going to compare these two machines with each other. Now, comparing these two machines is going to be something that is a little bit tricky because they are pretty much identical. Now, even though they don't really look the same and they are not really the same, they are. As confusing as that sounds, it's basically the same motor on the inside. It has a stroke adjustment from 4.2 all the way to 2.4, which is going to be the same on the Fold 2 as well, 4.2 to 2.4, which is very standard for the Mast Fold series. And they have brought out a lot of them. You have the Mast Fold Pro, you got the Fold 2, Fold 2 Pro, Fold 3, and now they got the Fold Pro New Year's edition coming up, which is also going to be on my channel very soon. So yeah, but how do we make the right decision in between these two machines? And that's all going to be very personal. Now I'm going to explain a little bit about these two machines and what makes them different from each other, to maybe help you make a better decisions. Now if you haven't seen the initial reviews on both of these machines, I will pin them in the description down below so you can have a look at those as well. Now let's start with the Fold 3. As weird as it sounds, I had the Fold 3 before the Fold 2 Pro, and that's because the Fold 2 came out a bit before, but they had a Pro version of the Fold 2 a little bit later. So this is actually a more recent machine than the Fold 3. Now the Fold 3 will come with two separate batteries. They are screwed on and off, and the machine is actually pretty short. Now on top they have four buttons: the minus, the plus, the power button, and the memory button, which will help you switch between aligning and a shading memory setting, which is very convenient in my opinion. Also, this machine is fairly light if you compare it to the Fold 2 Pro. So all in all, very comfortable machine to work with, almost the same as the Fold 2. It's just a little bit shorter, and it has two batteries in the box which screw off and not come off like this. Now of course the grip is all the same. You can make your adjustments. The stroke adjustments are actually all the same, so there's not a whole lot to actually talk about the differences, except for the buttons and the two batteries that come in the package that are screw on and off. Now this battery will last you anywhere between 4 and 6 hours, where on the Fold 2 the battery lasts a little bit longer. So I think that's pretty much enough about the Fold 3. Let's jump over to the Fold 2 Pro. As I mentioned, this battery pops off and on like that. It has a very simple power button and two voltage up and down buttons, and then there's not much to it. Now this battery will last you a little bit longer. It'll last you between the 6 and 8 hours, but it's also a little bit heavier, and that's a thing you need to consider because this thing is a little bit more compact. The weight is a little bit more centered, where on the Fold 2 the weight is a little bit more leaning towards the back. So if you have problem with your hands, this might be a better option than the Fold 2 Pro. Now tattooing wise, they are, yeah, I don't know, one day I like the other one better and the next day I like the other one a little bit better. They are both very decent machines. Sometimes I feel like they're even better than the Fold Pro, even though the Fold Pro has a much better motor and is a bit more expensive. It just feels that way. It's not that it is that way. It might feel different for you. It's just the way how I feel about these machines. Maybe it's because these machines have a little bit less power that I feel a little bit more comfortable using them, because power is not always equaling good. Because a lot of power can also make a lot of damage, and a lot of damage can give you a shitty tattoo, where less power might make give you less damage onto the skin and give you a better tattoo. And it might feel a little bit harder to work with sometimes, but then again it could also feel a little bit easier. Like certain things are in your mind when you're tattooing. Sometimes feels like you're not getting the ink into the skin and you very easily blame the machine, where it's actually something you are doing wrong. So yeah, I actually prefer these over my Fold Pro, but that's my experience. But yeah, I actually like all three of them, but it depends a little bit on what you're doing, because these machines I rather use for a little bit more finer kind of work, 3-round liner, 7-round liner, but the really like big lines like 11-round liner, 14-round shader, even with the 4.2 millimeter stroke, it might get a little bit tricky. This is where I have to say that the Fold Pro, so the original Fold Pro, is a little bit better, which is not one of these. So if you do a lot of more bold work, you might want to have a look at the Fold Pro, but I will put that video in the description down below as well, because I have reviewed that a couple of months ago already, and very soon we got the New Year's edition from the Fold Pro coming up, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that video. Now, what to choose? In my opinion, I prefer a little bit of a smaller pen that has the weight either a little bit more centered or a little bit more forward, rather than having a little bit of a longer machine that is a little bit more pulling the battery back. Now also, this one has one big battery, which is gonna last me 6 to 8 hours, where this one comes with 2 batteries that'll last me, instead of 4 to 6 hours, 8 to 12 hours, because I have 2 batteries, and it is a little bit lighter. So in my opinion, I actually prefer this one. Also, I think it's very convenient that you have that memory button that you can switch between the lining and shading mode, because sometimes you're lining, you want to do a little bit of shading or color packing with your liner, and it's nice to click that memory button to change in between these 2 memories. So I think that's a very cool feature, and yeah, especially the 2 batteries is also very big go for me, because you can just charge one while you're working with the other one, or you can finish the day, put it on charge, and you can start the next day with a fresh battery. So yeah, I actually really like machines that come with 2 batteries instead of one very big one. So yeah, I know choosing a tattoo machine can be very tricky, and it's a very personal thing. I would personally go for the Fold 3 instead of the Fold 2 Pro. Even though they are both very good machines, I just, like I said earlier, like 2 batteries and the little buttons up top. This one of course has a color display, and what I do really like about this one is that it shows the battery percentage rather than just a battery indicator, but that's just a very small detail on a machine actually. So even though it feels like I have been saying a lot of things without actually really saying something, if that makes sense, I hope I did give you a little bit of valuable information on making a better decision about these 2 machines. If I did, let me know in the comments, or let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I would like to hear how you actually feel about any of these 2 machines. Yeah, so let me know in the comments, like this video, and then I will probably see you in the next video.